Hello, and today we will continue with Devil's Gambit. After how my first visit went, I'm not thrilled to return to meet again with Manuel. But with my first payment drawing closer comes the realization that it will be necessary since I failed to explain my situation what I want to do with the money. I know it was to provoke that sudden rage again when the guard comes back and says that Manuel will see me. It's like I'm about to tread the edge of a pit. A single misstep means taking a plunge into the abyss. Thankfully, there aren't any wax models in his study today. Manuel's in deep thought as he writes something down, but gets up from his desk to greet me while I arrive. Yes, you. What do you want? Greetings, His Grace. It's an honor to be in your presence again. I wanted to talk about my payment. Is it possible to have part of it delivered somewhere else? It depends. Where do you want to send it? Back to my aunt, Nora, in Oblong. My hometown needs the money, you see. How far is it? Oh, it's quite a way away. It took me a little over 3 weeks to get here. My fingers are trembling. Please don't refuse to do this now. Not when I've already wasted so much time. I can't move the money myself, and I don't know anyone who could reliably transport it. However, the Duke shrugs. That's all? Very well. It will be arranged. How much of your payment are we talking about? A half? A fourth? Half. The Duke calls for the guard still waiting outside and repeats what I told him. The man assures him he'll see it done before excusing himself in a hurry. Is that all? Actually, His Grace, there's something else. Come out with it, then. I'm expecting somebody else today. I don't know if you are aware, but 9 years ago, your father kept a young wolf here as a guest. His eyebrows furrow, and I brace internally for him to lash out at me. Instead, he shoots back a question in a confused tone. 9 years ago, I'm afraid back then I was still in the middle of my world tour, studying under the guidance of many daughters of great renown. I believe I heard my father took in a few guests while I was away, so there was a child among them. He might be mistaken, but let it slide, Hector. The important part is not contradicting him. His Grace back then, Duke Leopoldino, hired my father to look into the child's condition, but our findings were inconclusive. I wonder if you could shed some light on what the illness was. Interesting. Let's take a stroll while we talk. Our steps echoed in the mansion's hallways. To make it brief, and out of respect for Kaidan's privacy, I want to describe the cyclical lethargy symptoms in the test Dad performed. The Duke is interested only in that anyway. Speaking of Dad, I feel grateful to him right now. I wouldn't be able to hold my tongue in face of the Duke's arrogance if not for his education. My oh my, father was suspecting 2 months out of some backwater town's witch doctor. Sleep disorders like these are very unusual, but it's nothing unheard of. His insulting dad makes my heart sink, and my blood heats up. But no, I need to keep my composure. You're a coward, Hector, but that's not always a bad thing. Cowardice can be a means of survival. I swallow every defense of my father, every insult aching to be hurled at the Duke, and coldly move on to my next question. What about the periods of weakness? That can be acceptable as well, though I admit it's peculiar that it happened at a certain time of the day. Aragon called it cyclical lethargy, yes? Perhaps you were dealing with a new disorder. I'll have to consult with my colleagues if there's precedent for such a thing. His curiosity ignited. Manuel mumbles to himself about who he should write to. Maybe I'm pushing my luck, but I need to ask him one more question. Sorry to interrupt, Your Grace, but what about the postmortem readings we received? Are those normal in these sleep disorder patients too? No, they aren't, but the irregular readings might have been unrelated to the cyclical lethargy. Is what would make the most sense, assuming they weren't a mistake on your father's end. I'd like to examine the wolf in question, but I assume that isn't possible as I haven't caught wind of any resident with a mysterious disease. I'm afraid so, yes, he's gone. Even if Kaidan was still sick, I wouldn't direct the Duke to him. It's plain to see Manuel's interest veers towards research rather than healing. We are approaching the study when the Duke notices my eyes trailing off to the portrait of the sad-eyed lioness. Beautiful, isn't she? Who is he? Grandfather's first wife, Lady Josephina. It's nice to have a name for her after so long and to have something to remember her by besides her sadness. Your grandmother, then. She's beautiful. Not quite my grandmother. We are separated by too many generations. After a moment, I blink and turn to him. I don't understand. I might come from a backwater town, as the Duke put it, but even I know that his kindred's rules are that the male firstborn inherits his father's rank. He tacitly confirmed being related to Lady Josephina, which means the only person between them should be Leopoldino. Manuel shows me one of his rare smiles, but that only makes me more uncomfortable. Do you not know of my family history? Come, I will show you. Back inside the study, he retrieves a tall, framed parchment labeled Dinastia Gloriosa de Westerwasau Gonzaga de Florenza e Burgundia e Veneza. There's a bunch of tiny portraits and names on it, arranged and connected in a manner reminiscent of a family tree. I say reminiscent because the connections are more akin to a spider's web than a tree. Many of the lines are inked in different colors for better readability, but I still don't know where to start. While the Duke is going off about his great-great-something grandfather, I'm still trying to find where he is in this mess. Here he is, Manuel, then that's his mother. But where's Leopoldino? My eyes grow wide as I go up a staircase of lionesses, all mothers of the last and all looping back to where Leopoldino is, 3 spaces above where you'd expect to find him. Also the one he had his first daughter with was his sister. I don't dare look further up, but what little Glenn tells me is even worse. Whatever you do, Hector, don't say what's on your mind. I'm amazed when a guard knocks and announces the next guest is already here. The lion clears his throat and holds the family web to his chest. You will have to leave. I have confidential matters to attend to with my other guests. Sister Singh, let's continue this delightful conversation another day. Right, of course. I won't take more of your time, Your Grace. Such is the relief that washes over me after I leave the study that, upon reaching the lower floor, I almost miss an old wolf being escorted down the hallway to my left. His limping reminds me of Fimpar. He must have received that injury during one expedition. I suppose it makes sense that the Duke isn't meeting him in his study. Dad was a witch doctor, and in his eyes he's only spared me of that labor because I used some of his inventions. Whatever he thinks, the wolves must be horrible enough to sink my heart into new depths. It makes me wonder why this wolf is meeting with the Duke, but my desire to leave outweighs my curiosity. As I leave the mansion behind, my thoughts trail off back to Lady Josephina. It's no wonder her eyes reflected such sorrow. If seeing the web on paper was horror, I can't imagine being there as it was weaved. The dark overtakes everything as I keep staring at my room's ceiling. I'm almost sinking under all three bed seats, unable to withstand the cold any longer. I disappeared for a while after the visit to the Eye Valley, only to return 2 nights ago. I wandered away from the fire for too long, though it might be more accurate to say the embers have gone cold again. There's much keeping me busy during the day, enough that I don't notice it. It's only when I'm here alone, listening to be elsewhere, with someone at my side that I tremble. The leaf burning festival had seemed close when picking it to talk with Kaidan, but the nearer it draws, the longer the nights become. No matter how long I close my eyes, thinking about what to do and say keeps me awake. Oh, Kaidan, I really liked it when you stole my food, used me as an Orwell, and suggested we do dangerous stuff all the time. Can you do that again? Absurd. Eventually I tire of the fuzzy chaos behind my eyelids and choose to stare at the ceiling instead. That's when it spreads to my back and my nerves stir as if I'm lying on a bed of nails. That is until exhaustion overtakes me and has be what has to be the slowest, most torturous lullaby, except today it's 2 months. I'm sick of this ceiling, of these sensations. I throw the bed sheets back. They do nothing anyway and head out. From the upper floor, I see movement behind the bar. A long lamp illuminates Orwell's form. He's drinking some beer. The dragon looks my way while I finish descending the stairs, squinting before gasping in surprise. Friend, what are you doing up so late? Couldn't sleep. Do you usually drink at night? Yup. Want some? I'd like to just sit down. Orwell gulps the drink down, and after letting out a satisfied begins cleaning the mud. What ails you, friend? Who knows? What is ailing you to be drinking at night? Just the usual. Everybody's so unhappy as of late. It's difficult to see my clients with such long faces despite my best efforts. That and no one has been capable of taking me in years. And believe me, brave souls have tried. His breath reeks of alcohol. That definitely wasn't the first mug he downed tonight. Maybe you should summon a succubus. I'm sure it would welcome the challenge. Succubus? What's that? I once read in a book there are demons that offer mortal sexual favors. The ones that seek to be penetrated are called succubus. Well, that same book also warned never to fuck one, since there are too many risks, but it might be worth it in your case, no? Ha, giving up my soul to a demon or never fucking somebody again, which one is worse? Options. The dragon makes a thinking gesture before pouring himself another mug. But no, even if it didn't take my soul, I don't want a one-night stand with a demon, no sir. Orwell is at the age where he's looking for a committed relationship. Better on a talented foreigner to show up one of these days. Not exactly. It's true that no one can take me, but never did I say that's a requirement. I don't even prefer it, to be honest. Gilded scales glint behind him as his tail shakes, dragging against the wood behind. Oh, though I wouldn't mind if that talented foreigner were to show up. If he was anything like you, with that plump build and pleading eyes, it would be my pleasure to clap his cheeks. Ha ha. I've had dragons I've heard dragons can sense changes in body temperature. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but right now I hope it's a lie because I don't want Orwell to notice how hot my face has gotten. Is he teasing me, or is he just so drunk that he's babbling nonsense? Dragons don't have that much alcohol resistance, right? I still secured Manuel's journal on them. I was thinking, could it be the thing from the other day still bothering you? I hope I don't seem nosy. No, you don't, but it might not be a bad idea to talk to Orwell, if only because I could use a listening ear, and he's so intoxicated he might not remember this by tomorrow, just in case he settled, Hector. You see, it's about Kaidan. The fact that Dragon just nods tells me he suspected that was the case. I know I'm obvious, but Orwell noticing that much sends blood rushing to my ears. But don't stubborn now, Hector, unless you want to embarrass yourself further. I told you Kaidan was very different when young, yes? Is it bad that I liked him better that way? What do you mean? You used to have this energy to him like he never faltered. I admired that. I really did, and now I miss it. I don't understand how he can be so calm with everything the dude's doing. Well, the current situation with Nye is complicated. I think Kaidan knows he won't accomplish much by getting mad at his grace. He has changed, but that's only because he grew as a person. That redemption won't last forever. Renai just needs to get through this tough period. Kaidan has been doing much good with his peacekeeping. I reckon if not for him, blood will have spilled by now. I know, but I still miss him. I'm afraid I don't understand you there, my friend, but perhaps I can still offer some advice. This is something my parents told me once. They've been married for 40 years and are still going strong. By the time I could walk, they had grown sick of each other, and I mean, kinda sick. My mom couldn't stand Dad so much. She would rather take her pillow in the bed seat and sleep on the floor next to the bed than be with him. But love persevered in the end. Wanna know why? Why? It's hard to let go of the people you love. When that love is real, it's like losing a part of yourself, right? That always starts as a blessing, but turned into a curse for my parents when they grew into people too different from when they married. You and Kaidan aren't a couple, but what you said reminded me of that. But then it was a blessing again because they still didn't want to be apart. It would have been the way it was at the start, but they tried to make it work and fall in love with each other all over again. And that's how it is. We want to keep someone close. We do anything for them. We gotta put in the effort to make it work. Love makes it worth it. The sun rises in pale light, washes over the town. The wolf dressed in black is doing his morning rounds, systematically turning off every oil lamp. A wolf sits by the stables peering into the forest, watching for returning scouts. While the farmers are out working in the fields or leading herds, women and children walk the streets, painting the walls with crude depictions of gaping, pitch-black mouths, red eyes, and claws. The construction crew is erecting stalls and preparing to be bonfire. In front of the old shrine, on account of its tower, is the tallest building in Renai, though not the biggest. That honor belongs to the hospital. With most of the town's priests dead or retired, and the last of them having retreated to a humbler place in the forest, it saw little use even 11 years ago. Nowadays it's been turned to a storehouse. A keeper's Kaidan transports bundles of branches long after his body over his shoulders, tosses them into the to-be bonfire before rearranging them. I'm standing across the street watching his bulging biceps and gray back all the while. So enthralled am I that I don't notice his eyes on me. The wolf jogs towards me. Hello, Hector. Out of the hospital already? Yes, I was on my way to see my patients in town. How are the preparations going? Pretty well, although this year's festival we have to be a little humble. Usually we gather money to hire a band for the next town over. Surely when I have some musical talent, it'll be a good chance to see what they can do. Mm-hmm. I adjust my belt. I better get back to work. Before you go, have you collected any hazel leaf yet? I know it's the point of the festival, but it slipped from my mind. Or maybe I don't want to think of the purple, phasing vines from from the Eye Valley. Let's meet at home later. I also haven't gathered mine, so we can do it together. Sure thing. It was almost sunset When I arrive at Kaidan's place and we dive into the forest, it's a quick endeavor as a mind-numbing hazel leaf is easy to differentiate from the many other smells. For once, I'm the one leading Kaidan, which I'm proud of. Although I have second thoughts when I reach for the purpleless herb, the difference with the one in the valley is plain to see. It doesn't look like veins, but remembering what happened during the latest expedition gives me pause. I just whip it and put it in a pouch. Drums reverberate ferociously as though to tear down houses and trees alike. Wolves wearing loincloths, painted demons' faces, and horn-shaped wooden cups over their ears bounce through the streets with baskets in their hands. My heart stops at the sight of purple vines creeping up the walls, but upon close inspection, there are just ropes that have been dyed purple and propped up with nails. I can't catch a break, though, as one of the demons stops centimeters from my nose, muttering a phrase I don't understand. But what? Hand over your offering, or else you will suffer the curse. Oh, this? Demon tosses my hazel leaves inside the basket before turning to Kaidan and repeating the process, and then hops away in search of more of these unusual ties. I'm glad everybody's enjoying themselves. I like the music too. It looks like you didn't need a band after all. The drumming is too intense for my liking, but it fits the festival's mood much better than the cheerful tunes bands often play. Two children are running all over the place with sticks in their hands. Their mother chases them not too far behind. Wolves and even a few lions are trying their luck at the game stalls. One has rows of tiny wooden soldiers arranged on itself. The owner hands us 3 stones each and tells us to knock over as many soldiers as we can. I'm nervous from all the eyes on us, but that doesn't compare to when my stone bounces off from a statue. I take a step back and put my entire body into the next 2 throws, only barely knocking over 2 soldiers. Just how heavy are these things? Kaidan pats me on the shoulder and gives me a small smile. The owner stands back when the mountain of a wolf prepares to swing. Next plays out a spectacle of soldiers flying and falling all over the place before being swallowed by the void between the stall and the self. It's not just his sheer strength, he sends them flying in such a way they knock over everything else nearby. Perfectly calculated destruction. A small audience follows us as we move to the next game. It's no wonder, be it a competition of a talented strength or precision, Kaidan conquers it. They don't cheer as much for me, but it's alright. All I care about is that Kaidan is looking at me and is having fun. Eventually the pace of the drumming picks up as the demons gather and dance around the bonfire. Then they shoot off in different directions, tearing the vines from walls as they go. Oh my, is it time for the burning? Want to watch it? Having rid the town of all the vines, the demons reunite in front of the old church once again and light the fire. Their dance continues as they toss in first the ropes and then the haze leaves. The townspeople clap their hands in the rhythm of the drums. I join them, and so does Kaidan after me. The big wolf struggles to find the song's beat for a moment, so he just looks my way and claps after I do. A chuckle escapes me, and at which point I notice the inside of his ears turn a little red, or maybe it's the fire. Then it's my ears' turn to get red when the wolf's tail brushes against my leg, seemingly without its master realizing. It's so soft I'm tempted to grab it just to feel it up and to take in that pleasant, unique aroma. I only sense hints of from that distance. No, ignore it, Hector. Keep your eyes on the dance. Unfortunately, the sight of the dancer's bulky yet agile silhouette circling the bonfire ends up being like oil to the fire in my quads. Why are they all so voluminous? I continue clapping, hoping Kaidan doesn't notice. The flames die down, the demons scatter and disappear into the shadows, and the crowd disperses. We return to Orwell's nest. It's quiet at first, eerily so after all the celebration, but soon more rules arrive until it's bustling with activity too. Orwell is so busy he only has time for a greeting while serving us our drinks. You killed it at the stalls tonight. You do that every year? You killed it at the stalls tonight. You do that every year? Nah, that would spoil the fun. I used to prefer to stand back and watch. Showing off to me then? The look on that man's face when he got ready to throw was priceless. How surprisingly mean of you, Hector. He feared for his life. Says the one that scared him. Besides, I'm no saint. I asked Orwell for a refill. The dragon just shows us that fatherly smile of his before walking away again. Come to think of it, that's your fault too. I was the model son before I met you. Then you beat me up, and suddenly I'm lying to my father. Huh. Slow down with the beer, Hector. You make me sound like a bully. Because you were one. Why did it surprise you? I am a peacekeeper then. Some people say peacekeepers are such. Some people say peacekeepers and such are contracted bullies. It's true, but you are too nice. Never met a bully that gives away money rather than takes it. Wait, did somebody call you that? Point me to them. I'm gonna whoop their butt. Definitely drunk. The wolf tenses up and raises his arms in a long stretch. My face gets a little warmer. Well, gotta get back to work tomorrow. If only we could have the festival for the entire week. Come to think of it, you still work as usual, right? Oh yes, I'm exhausted to be honest. Want to call it a night early? Absolutely. We walk side by side in silence. I know what I need to do. I've been preparing for it all day, yet I'm drawing a blank now. I can't let the day end with Kaidan telling me goodbye and retreating to his sack again. I can't let the memory of this day turn cold as well. Do something, anything, Hector. Oh? Kaidan is surprised by me suddenly clinging to his arm. He stops in his tracks and faces me. What is it? Too tipsy to walk? Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should stay at the tavern. God, why can't I say it? Why can't I say it? I'm so frustrated. Tears are welling up. Hector? Kaidan, I'm a coward. The wolf blinks with a look as though trying to decipher the meaning of my words. There's nothing deeper to grasp, however. I'm just stating a fact. Even though you accepted going into the Eye Valley, you have an interesting idea of a coward, Hector. You were there, so it was nothing. You know, I'm not very confident as a doctor either. I don't know I'll ever live up to Dad, but I still have to do what I can. Do you know how I gather some courage? How? You killed at the stalls tonight. You do that every year? Nah, that would spoil the fun. I used to prefer to stand back and watch. Showing off to me then? The look on that man's face when he got ready to throw was priceless. How surprisingly mean of you, Hector. He feared for his life. Says the one that scared him. Besides, I'm no saint. I asked Orwell for a refill. The dragon just shows us that fatherly smile of his before walking away again. Come to think of it, that's your fault too. I was the model son before I met you. Then you beat me up, and suddenly I'm lying to my father. Huh. Slow down with the beer, Hector. You make me sound like a bully. Because you were one. Why did it surprise you? I am a peacekeeper then. Some people say peacekeepers are such. Some people say peacekeepers and such are contracted bullies. It's true, but you are too nice. Never met a bully that gives away money rather than takes it. Wait, did somebody call you that? Point me to them. I'm gonna whoop their butt. Definitely drunk. The wolf tenses up and raises his arms in a long stretch. My face gets a little warmer. Well, gotta get back to work tomorrow. If only we could have the festival for the entire week. Come to think of it, you still worked as usual, right? Oh yes, I'm exhausted to be honest. Want to call it a night early? Absolutely. We walk side by side in silence. I know what I need to do. I've been preparing for it all day, yet I'm drawing a blank now. I can't let the day end with Kaidan telling me goodbye and retreating to his sack again. I can't let the memory of this day turn cold as well. Do something, anything, Hector. Oh? Kaidan is surprised by me suddenly clinging to his arm. He stops in his tracks and faces me. What is it? Too tipsy to walk? Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should stay at the tavern. God, why can't I say it? Why can't I say it? I'm so frustrated. Tears are welling up. Hector, Kaidan, I'm a coward. The wolf blinks with a look as though trying to decipher the meaning of my words. There's nothing deeper to grasp, however. I'm just stating a fact. Even though you accepted going into the Eye Valley, you have an interesting idea of a coward, Hector. You were there, so it was nothing. You know, I'm not very confident as a doctor either. I don't know I'll ever live up to Dad, but I still have to do what I can. Do you know how I gather some courage? How? I started doing this for work, but it eventually spilled into other things, but I have this image of who I'd like to be as a doctor, right? I pretend I'm him, and talk to myself, had to do this, do that, and that helps me calm down when I'm distressed. Everything is easier when I have someone giving me direction or telling me what to do, I guess, like you in the valley. I see. I wonder if you didn't used to do something similar back at the Duke's mansion, like you used to put on this sort of bravado, had you? I didn't realize it back then, but I love you, Kaidan. I still do, and that too makes me scared, because you're so different now that I can't tell what's going through your head most of the time, and Hector. His voice stern but gentle takes me out of my rambling state. Is it hope, fear, or something else that he's seeing in my eyes? That silence, accompanied only by rustling leaves, lasts for so long I'm about to beg him to say anything, but then Kaidan lets out a sigh. It doesn't even make it miss. Why would it? Instead, it freezes me in place until blood doesn't reach my toes and fingers. It makes my heart stop beating. I know, Hector. I've known for a while. I didn't want to assume, but it's been written all over your face. You said nothing? Because I hope I was mistaken. I didn't want to hurt you. Oh no, don't say that. 9 years ago, I also felt that way about you, Hector, but, well, it's true. I'm too different. Yes, you being different scared me, but that means nothing. No, you are important to me. When I came back, I was hoping to find the same person I knew, not considering how you grew up. But that doesn't mean we can't try, right? I still want to be with you, Kaidan, even though you're different. I still care about you the same as I did back then. I try to grab his hand again, but he pulls away. Hector, if you... Kaidan grinds his teeth as though trying to bite down his words. His nostrils flare, hands curl into fists, ears flick as if searching for a distant sound, but his eyes remain locked on me. What his voice comes out raspy as a cough, and it brings me back to the time he choked near the river. The panic from back then is about to resurface until he takes a deep breath, his chest and shoulders rising before letting it all out. It's then that I see it. His gaze betrays a sliver of hope, a need unfulfilled, a lone lantern lighting up the way on a stormy winter night. But the storm is 2 months. Little by little it's buried by the snow and vanishes. Hector, you're wonderful. You're much braver and talented than you think, but you deserve better. There's no one else like you, Kaidan. Even then, I can't give you what you want. I can't bear to put you at risk. Risk? Do you mean to do? I don't care what he does. But I do. I want you to be happy, Hector, to be safe, but I can't promise you that. I just can't. A sniffle. Are you crying, Hector? I don't understand. I don't want to lie to you. Make you believe I can make this work. That will hurt you all the more I couldn't bear to put you through that. I'm sorry, Hector, but I'm not the person you love anymore. It's better this way, isn't it, Hector? Think about it. Isn't this how most childhood crushes end? How many couples do you know that met when they were children and stuck around each other until adulthood? This isn't anything extraordinary. You aren't living a fairy tale. The good news is that almost everyone has gone through this. And if they got over it, then so will you. For now, I apologize to Kaidan. Let him know you'll be returning to the tavern. You need some time alone. And then cry, Hector. Get in bed and hug your pillow to your heart's content. Imagine a life you can't have until your heart is exhausted. Starting tomorrow, we'll work on getting over this. For now, rest. How weird it was seeing him like this, Kaidan, star drinker, Duke the Fire, Window Slayer. He walked toward the river, with his shoulders slumped, looking at his feet. It wasn't that he had woken up from his lethargy, nor had he choked again. He was just sad. It was such a nice day that I wanted to take a dip in the river. Kaidan had half-heartedly accepted, following me half a dozen steps behind. But when we arrived, he kept quiet, sitting under a tree on the riverbank and hugging his own legs as he stared at the water. His gaze was so firm. I looked into the river to check if something interesting had caught his attention, but to no avail. I put down our towels before kneeling next to him. What's the matter? Not feeling like it after all? Don't me. What's wrong? Sometimes the Duke says something about everything having a place in nature. Do you know about that? A lot of the herbalism books I've read talk about that. I mentioned it to you once, remember? About how for every illness there's a cure, that everything has a purpose. But if those words came out of the Duke's mouth, then surely they carried a much darker meaning. I wonder what my purpose is. Such a question was very typical for boys of our age, being in a bunch of the boys in Oblon couldn't relate to it. As it was decided early, we traced our parents' steps. But whenever we went to the house of a wealthy client in the city, if they had a son of my age, chances were he'd be wrestling with this same question. It was a privilege of those with opportunities, which is why it was peculiar hearing it from Kaidan. It made sense, though. He wasn't wondering this out of an abundance of futures, but a complete lack of. He'd been denying his freedom for so long, and there still wasn't an end in sight for his confinement. What would he even do once the Duke let him go? Is there a place for me somewhere? Of course, Kaidan. Where? I give him a small shrug. Why not? No one can take away your home time. It'll welcome you back with open arms whenever you get out of here. No, they'll just say I'm a troublemaker. That's what everyone thinks, right? It's what the Duke tells everyone who will listen. All the servants and guards talk about it, too. Even the townsfolk who come over. All they talk about is my illness. Everyone is interested in me because of that stupid disease and nothing else. After that's settled, no one will want me for anything. Everything would be better if I disappeared. The way he looked at the water sent a shiver down my spine. That's not true. How do you know? I took his hand and squeezed it tight, locking eyes with him, and looked deep into the sky within them, holding on as though not to fall into it, because I knew the words would escape me otherwise. You do have a place in the world, because you are here with me now. And I want you to be here. If the people when I won't welcome you back, then I will. I miss you whenever I'm away. Do you know that? Everything's boring without you, and days feel like they'll never end. You to be here. And the people when I won't welcome you back, then I will. I miss you whenever I'm away. Do you know that? Everything's boring without you, and days feel like they'll never end. Every night I go to bed with a book, wishing you were there with me, and fall asleep thinking of the next time we'll come and visit you. You do? Of course you do. I still know you would. That was his first smile that day. It took me in, as did his arms, as they pulled me into a hug. His fingers dug into my clothes. His cheek found a place in the crook of my neck, and after I got my bearings, I wrapped my arms around him as well. It was summer. He smelled like fresh grass, tree bark, and pine cones. God, he was so light, and shorter than me, too. In my memories of Wanai, he always felt like a larger-than-life figure, that magnetic rebel, but he was so small. We held each other for as long as we could, but nowhere near as long as I wanted to. I still feel his shirt, my fingers digging into it. I didn't want that moment to end. I remember now, this is one of the last conversations I had with Kaidan 9 years ago before he was cured of his illness. There isn't much of a story to that. One day Dad was performing his daily checkup when, well, nothing happened. We waited a few days and monitored him closely, but nothing happened. As suddenly as I imagined it manifested with no explanation, his illness disappeared. Everything has a place in this world, but there are truths that are difficult to discern that seem to defy reason. These truths serve a higher purpose and bound to the understanding of us mortals. I thought fate brought us together. A few days later, we returned to town with Kaidan for the first time, and that same day, we left Wanai for what would be the last time for 9 years. After that talk, I wasn't sure he'd be fine alone in town, but he reassured me he'd be all right. As we shared our last hug, long enough to betray a want deeper than a friendship, I was convinced I'd see him again soon. Although I didn't know why fate had brought us together, we'd see each other again. Our bond had meaning. And I had never been so sure about anything else in my life. How foolish I was. The illness was just some sleep disorder no one knew about then. In our bond, Ty has put it to the test during these 9 years. It's strong, but nothing as romantic as I hope. Such an idiot. What a fool that you are, Hector. Kaidan. It's been 9 years. You thought I'd still be sneaking out at night, throwing pebbles at noblemen's windows and crawling through secret passages? Please get serious. A childish part of me hoped for that, yes, but I knew it wasn't a reasonable expectation. What do you want from me, then? I don't know. After Dad died, I changed. I had to in order to survive. But I thought that, deep down, we'd still be the same people. I hope that you still think of me in the same way, and as often as I think of you. You thought wrong. I'm an adult now, Hector. Yes, but sometimes I still see it. That look you used to have. What look? What are you talking about now? Very searing, as though you burned me if I got too close. Since I returned, whenever I was about to lose heart, I felt the old you was gone. I saw it. That alone kept hope. That alone kept my hope alive. I miss you so much, Kaidan. Every night I hug my pillow, wish it was you. He shakes his head and my heart sinks once again. God, Hector, you're so pathetic. Come on, will you climb a mountain just because you spotted a lit ember buried under the snow? His tail lashes behind him. I swear he shows a canine when he spits out lit ember. Will you dive into the ocean because you caught a glimpse of a gem on the seabed? That sharpness in his voice, that brutal honesty I could always rely on, the lack of fear that taught me to stand up to my father. In his eyes, God, for the first time in 9 years, it's like he's truly looking at me, seeing me. Foolish, ignorant man. It doesn't even cross my mind falling back. His words don't sting, don't even feel like an insult. Instead, tears cascade from my eyes, each one warmer and sadder than the last. This is a Kaidan that I love. I can't help my sorrow. I sob and fall down like a child. He takes a step back, and I see in his tense stance, his chest locked mid-breathing, the glimmering eyes from head to toe, motions. When he crosses to check on me, he tilts his head, trying to get a better look at my face. Did I go too far? No, it's just the attitude I expected of you. Every time I screwed up and all you did was let it slip or just smile, it was so disappointing. God, there's something wrong with me, isn't it? Wanting a man to love, to insult me, to tear into me iron. His fingers land on my mouth, and from his comes a gentle suss. Silence, Badger. His voice comes out so soft, so tender, it reminds me of that night we sneaked out to the river, so loving he could have picked the stars, the moon, even our face from the dark waters. Come on, let me hold you. Like old times, but different. I learns and envelop him with my arms, but his back is so broad I can't even wrap around him. In the blink of an eye, we are no longer standing up. We are instead laying down together as if that longing, farewell embrace and all the nights weeding together mixed into one moment. Like old times, but different. I lay my hand on his chest and I feel a heartbeat that cannot exist. My best friend, my first love, warm and intense as if we were still innocent, but in the body of this mountain of a man. His hands, rugged and thickly knotted, sinking to my fur, as in each curling finger and each claw raising my skin, there is an ember. He leans in, not to kiss, but to place his nose on my neck. He takes a sniff and I do the same with his chest. His scent, like an entire world of its own, the damp, loamy soil after the rain, aged tree bark and roots, remnants of the smoke from the festival. Alongside it is something familiar, but I can't quite place, that awakens a nagging feeling in the back of my mind. Underneath it all, there is also the smell of that young wolf I loved without knowing, aged now into a fully grown man. I miss it so much. I was already crying, but now I'm sobbing on his chest because I know this is all. I was a fool too, Hector. You were? Unforgivably so. Again, it's that voice I know so well, with subtle inflections, as if 1,000 different thoughts are running through his mind. He leans in closer to my ear. His breathing makes me tingle. I should have known that a wimp like you turned out like this, unable to get enough of my bullying. At least I'm glad I was a good influence on you. I reckon you have no spine at all if I hadn't taught you how to lie to your daddy. I wouldn't. I'd only be arrogant's masterpiece and not a thing more. Not a person, just a doctor. He freezes, he looks away, ponders, and looks down at me with a grin. Yes, that's what he'd have done to you if he had the chance. But don't be so rough on your old man. Even if that's true, he was decent. Better than decent, damn it. He was twice a doctor than anyone in this town, even that inbred Manuel. That noble piece of shit could go on his trips and schools and dinners with his fancy friends, while my dad had to learn it all with what little was afforded to him back then. I dig my claws into him. A yelp comes first, but it's laughter that follows. All right, you still hold him in such high esteem, eh? But sure, I'll give you that. Arrogance, the only doctor I regret playing my planks on, shouldn't have slipped that spy on his suit. He deserved better. Believe it or not, I was looking forward to seeing him again, even had an entire speech prepared. And what did you mean but to tell him? I was going to thank you for bringing such a fine morsel to me. Sinking my teeth and turning you into a rascal was the highlight of those years. And I apologize, too, for ruining his perfect masterpiece. I sink my claws on his arm. Ouch, damn, you really grew a spine after all. Maybe it's good that I rejected you. Had I used you as a footrest today, you wouldn't have won for long. Don't say that. The dude couldn't get me to shut up. What makes you think I'll go quiet now? I'll say whatever the hell I want. Even if every other word he's fooling around, I can't help but wish this could last forever. that this wasn't a dream. Huh, even my arms, you look so pathetic. But what dark magic did you make me fall in love with you as a kid? So you loved me too? You weren't lying just to console me? Of course I did. Of course I fucking did. Don't you know? After returning to our night, how often I went to bed thinking of the day you come back. All the times I pictured our next meeting. Every time a carriage would pass through town, I'd come by and check if a basil or two were in it every damn time. After a while, I got worried and tried sending you letters, though I guess those never reached you. Is that all true, Kaidan? Of course it is. You think I lied about that? I mean, are you even real? This is a dream. His voice lowers, and his breath comes almost freezing. I am real, Hector. Then tell me just what made you change so much. His lips part, teeth showing as a thin, white line, his chest rumbling as he chuckles. How the hell will I know? Of course. It just happened, Hector. It just did. Will this be the last time I see you like this, the old foul-mouthed, mischievous man I loved? I tighten my hug around the wolf. He goes quiet. His gaze is so fixed on me, I fear I displease him, that the duel may end, or worse, that the spell has broken and he returns to his cold cell. But instead he answers by tightening his arm grip around me. The softest whimper escapes him as his fingers caress the back of my neck. This is a dream. His voice lowers, and his breath comes almost freezing. I am real, Hector. Then tell me, just what made you change so much? His lips part, teeth showing as a thin white line, and his chest rumbling as he chuckles. How the hell will I know? Of course. It just happened, Hector. It just happened. Will this be the last time I see you like this old, foul-mouthed, mischievous man I loved? I tighten my hug around the wolf as he goes quiet. His gaze is so fixed on me, I fear I displease him, that the dream may end, or worse, that the spell has broken and he returns to his cold self. But instead he answers by tightening his own grip around me. The softest whimper escapes him as his fingers caress the back of my neck. Please hold me and don't let go. His voice comes different, deeper, on the verge of tears, from such depths of his soul that it makes even my chest rumble. I dreamed of this for so long. When we heard by the river just a few days before Kaidan's illness disappeared, I was taller than him. He was the one standing on the tips of his toes to fit his muzzle on my shoulder while digging his fingers into my clothes. His were the sobs muffled by my shirt. Tonight, I'm the one pressing my cheek against his chest, sinking into his white fur, trusting him to hold and put me back together, telling me it will be alright, even if we know it won't. God, thank you for letting me hug and love this ghost one last time, even if the man I love will never know about these tears I'm shedding. Thank you. Here, with my face pressed against him, I'm listening to his heartbeat. Kaidan and I never walked together during the winter, after the first snowfall, but I can pretend we did. And there, treading the undisturbed snow as the sun set, we find a place silent. We hear each other's heartbeats. We hug like this, not feeling the slightest bit of cold. And I appreciate every bit of strength this man mustered over the years. I have too many regrets about things we could have done, but that now won't come to be. About chances I missed. Here in his arms, I realized how bad I wanted to tell him. I didn't have the guts to tell you, but when we were coming back from the valley, I kind of wanted to ask you to carry me instead. You're just so big now. I bet you wouldn't have broken a sweat. Oh yes, I could tell. During the whole walk back, I was half expecting you to ask me to. You did? Of course, you're transparent, Hector. It's plain to see. You're always staring at my chest and arms, making no attempt to hide it. I swear your legs were shaking when I destroyed the targets at the festival. His heavy mitt of a hand presses my head an ear against his chest, and I can hear his heartbeat. With half of my face covered, my other eye can only see his white fur. It's like a fantasy come true. If things had been different, Badger, I would have picked you up over my shoulder, a baby bridal style, and I have spirited you away from Lanai. Any place would be home if you'd be with me. I nuzzle up against his chest. I wish I could make this real. I'd give up anything, my career, my home, even my soul, in exchange. His arms tighten around me, almost playfully. I'd rather like that, for you to entrust everything to me, your past, present, and future. I'll love and cherish all of you. I'll put you through pleasure so intense they'll change you. You think you've reached maturity. You think you know who you are in the world, but you will see that everything you latch onto, your noble doctor's station, not scientific thinking, your good manners. One hand travels to my lower back, and as though to never let me go, to make me his possession, Kaidan squeezes all of me against himself, including our crosses. It elicits a moan out of me, but the wolf doesn't even notice it in his dominant frenzy. All of it is insignificant, a willful distraction from your actual role as my plaything, to fuck and claim and own. After a single night tied to me like a bitch getting pumped full of my cum, you will see that was what you spent your entire life searching for. But worry not, Badger. I'll take my time fitting my knot into you, wearing out every resistance. I'll have you calling out my name in bliss every second, and you'll enjoy every moment being branded as mine, in body, mind, and in your delicious soul. His voice drips with a possessiveness and weight I can't describe it, as if he's whispering straight into my brain. I wonder if Kaidan can sense how fast my heart is beating, or the heat accumulating in my loins. His grip relaxes at some point, which allows me to pull back just enough to meet that shit-eating grin. Hector. He's wagging his tail. My hands crawl on their own to Kaidan's back, feeling the ups and downs of his physique shifting as he repositions himself to better embrace me. In any other circumstance, I have listened in my head each muscle and bone. I have done it even with my eyes closed. But not here, not now. My doctor self, my responsible and dutiful side, is quiet, and how free do I feel. Ever since I returned to Lanai and saw you, Kaidan's wandering hand moved to my back as well. His claw rests at the base of my tail and trails upwards, following my spine. I can't control myself. I shiver, moan, and hug him tighter. I didn't tell you to stop. Sorry, I meant that your cape, that your bag, your cape, that was the first day I saw of you. You grew up. You look like a hero now, the kind we saw illustrated in the Duke's books when we were younger. And when you came right in to break up the fight and help San. Maybe it was stupid of me, but I thought then that you had become just like the heroes from the books. And to think you used to be shorter than me. Kaidan smirks, a devilish smile, brimming with 1,000 fearsome ideas coming undone, and a burst of malicious laughter. It's enough to make me squirm. And you became a real doctor. The best kind, with a big heart, trying to help your folks back home, and soft hands that can heal any wound. And, like so many educated people, with a thing for a hard-working lumberjack. His claw grazes the back of my neck. But of course, I grow bigger than you. It was just a late bloomer. If it weren't for that, I'd have picked you up and thrown you into the river back then. And that not so little life circles its way to my front. But now things are as they should be. You're like a street bug, Hector, so small I could eat you up and you wouldn't even notice. Then my mind goes blank and my lips tremble as I try to come up with a retort. What? Wouldn't that be a nice way to place tribute to your hero? Kaidan opens his mouth and pulls me closer before biting the air in front of my eyes. He chuckles as he takes in my terrified expression. Just kidding. There are plenty of other ways that I can use you. The way he licks his lips sends a bolt straight to my crotch. My memories about Kaidan are like burn marks etched into my skin. To remember them is to touch a scar as I recall the story behind it. The oldest ones from 11 years ago are fading, but among them is one that evokes an image so clear it's like I'm back to the first time we exchanged glances in the Duke's garden into our subsequent encounter in the mansion's hallway. I want to see it again. I wiggle in Kaidan's arms, and as though he can tell what I'm thinking, the wolf also repositions himself so that our eyes meet. There it is, his searing gaze, gently to not risk losing sight of it even for an instant. I bring my forehead against his. But it's not quite as I remember it being. In the past, his flames have sought to burn anything that got close enough. Now it's as though they have a purpose. Not that they are any less wild. The underlying anger, spite, and righteousness are still there. They still burn red like blood. It's just different, though, in a good way. Suddenly, the searing gaze moves, and my body tenses up as Kaidan drags his long, wet tongue across my teeth. What are you doing? What? The next step after rubbing foreheads is licking each other. Or didn't you know? It's the first time I'm hearing about that. You've never laid with someone else, haven't you, Hector? To think you've been saving yourself for me to this extent, since a devoted badger. But fret not, I'll teach you all you need to know before I destroy you. I can only chuckle at having my lack of experience exposed. He's obviously lying, so what did I do or say to give it away? Or am I so obvious he can just tell? I close my eyes as I sink into Kaidan's chest, thrusting my hips forward. Our crotches meet again, but this time I can appreciate the size, the weight of it, how constrained it must have been in those pants of his. I've known how big he is since that day I saw him washing his clothes by the river, but to touch it, experience it, is a whole new world. If only I had been braver that day enough to accept his offer, to so interest be genuine. Would it have changed anything for the better? Maybe not, but I regret it nevertheless. Impatient, aren't we? Kaidan, please. I know, you need it so badly. And a trembling breath escapes me as he moves his hips, grinding us together. You are a big, virile wolf to satisfy you, don't you? I figured the other badgers wouldn't make the cut judging by how small yours feels. No, you deserve better. He pushes forward hard, as though to force me to acknowledge the size difference. I bite my lip, my manhood throbs and drools with need, not only for the friction, but for that loving humiliation. The Kaidan has stripped me of my pride as a doctor, as a man, reduced me to something for him to crack open and enjoy, cherish. But then he backs away, leaving me with a hard-on and whining. Although I plead with my eyes, the wolf just cackles and rubs my back to comfort me. Sorry, dear, but you'll have to be patient for a little longer. Why? What are you planning? Would you like to know, huh? I lay my hand on his chest, letting his musk and the rocking of his breathing lull me. But my eyes wander, and before I know it, I'm looking at his armpit. Just a few inches away from me. Without even thinking, I crank my neck upwards to take a whiff. I expected him to smell similar to the way he did the day I arrived at the tavern, but like Wanai itself, close in nature with an irremovable but well-controlled wildness and permanently damp with mist. He would, I thought, smell like a smoky wood, an incense made of harsh flowers, musky sap, and overpowering tree bark. And it crosses my mind that this smell, which I always associated with the town itself, might in truth have come from Kaidan all along. Maybe in my memories, Kaidan's scent always came first and overpowered Wanai's. Though that's not the scent my nose picks up tonight. Here, let me help, since you want it so bad. I couldn't have been discreet, not in this position. As soon as my nose makes contact and catches his scent, as soon as I bite my lip, the corners of Kaidan's mouth turn into a devilish smirk. His heavy hand lies on the back of my head, dishes smooth out my fur while claws scratch and nets I didn't know I had. He's gentle, understanding, and demanding. The weight increases and pushes my nose to burrow itself into his armpit. The nagging feeling returns, but it only lasts for a moment before his musk well and truly overpowers my nostrils. Enjoy it. You'll be smelling a lot more from now on. It's the smell of 1,000 flowers in bloom. Their stamens fully grown, and spreading fragment pollen, nectar dripping down the petals and stems, branches and trunks stained with ever-flowing streaks of sticky sap. And the exquisite ingredients first used by primordial alchemists to brew virility-enhancing elixirs. It's a scent of a wild land that has reached its climax, of a nature where every living being feels in their nerves the call to feast on every bodily pleasure the will to fuck. And it burrows itself into my nose so strong that it smothers out any other scent and sticks to my senses. It sticks to my face and he keeps rubbing it into his armpit. You have no idea how long I wanted to do this, how difficult it was keeping myself under control when you were going around town on your own. His voice is so deep, so pregnant with desire, that it makes my entire being rumble along with it. His grip tightens as he grinds my nose on his coarse fur, but just as strong is my own digging into his armpit. But now everyone will think twice before laying a hand on you. He pulls my face closer to his and drags his tongue from the side of my neck to my ear before nibbling it. Well, Badger, won't you thank me for giving you such a gift? Thank you. Thank you what? Kaidan. Thank you, Kaidan. Good enough for now, I suppose. You're welcome. It'll take a while for me to feel any other smell. Kaidan? The wolf raises an eyebrow as I move to expose the crook of my neck to him. My lips tremble and my heart races as I try to get the next few words out. Do you want to, bite me? Oh, so out of all the ways you could be of use to me, you'd rather get eaten up. That's not at all what I said, but before I can retort, the wolf is already looking at me with an expression not too different to someone appraising a juicy piece of meat in the market district. I take it back. I reckon you're much more filling than a mere sweet buck. Yes, I could make a feast out of you. He stresses his words by grasping me by the obliques and pulling my belly against him. He squeezes me here and there, filling up every bit of my flesh. Muscle fat and the bones underneath. Finally, one of his hands starts on my chest. Do you know what the lions like to say? I shake my head. It's baseless conjecture, of course, but they think we used to kidnap people to eat their hearts. Can you imagine it? Ridiculous. let out a chuckle after him, though I stop when he opens his mouth and starts drawing closer. His tongue barely catches the drool running down his chin. But what if I told you those stories were real? My heart jumps as I suddenly lunges forward, and then I explode into laughter. Kaidan's cheeks are wound with air as he blows raspberries into my neck. Hey, stop, Kaidan. Fine, just because you asked so nicely. As he's pulling it back, he takes a second to let the side of my face. I wish I could pretend that's what makes me turn red in the ears, but he'd see right through me. I can't believe I'm still falling for his childish tricks. Did you really want me to bite you? Yes. Interesting, I'll keep that in mind for later. He licks his lips again. Is this hunger really all an act? My fingers continue tracing a path down Kaidan's back, determined to memorize every centimeter, every crease. His fur is so soothing that I fall asleep if not, because I'm already dreaming. I close my eyes, reveling in the stupor. Then my hand stumbles upon something. It's sort of like a belt, but that can't be right. He's not wearing anything. And further below, what's this? It's some sort of fabric, but it can't belong to his pants. Maybe his tail? No, not even close. The feeling of it wagging against me during the festival is still fresh, and this is different. My hand runs all over the place until it finds something long and fluffy. Now this is his tail. Having fun back there? My eyes open wide and my hand retreats when I realize what I'm doing. I'm so sorry. Sorry for what? What did you do? Well, Could it be you were thinking about my ass, Hector? Not really. I mean, it's really nice, but... So you weren't thinking about wanting to fuck it, then? No. That's great, because it's not happening. Kaidan guffaws at the prospect of me fucking him is the funniest joke he's ever thought of, and then he pats my back, expecting me to join him in laughter. Which I do. God, he's such an asshole. I love it. That said, Hector, I intend to enjoy every bit of you, so it's only fair that you possess the same right. But I mean it. I wasn't. I know, I'm not talking about that. I don't know what you're packing, but I doubt it would do much for either of us. Instead, let me use your nose. What? Stop playing dumb. Do you think I wouldn't realize how much you enjoy sniffing my cape? You're not sneaky, Badger. But worry not, next time you can just ask. I'll even let you smell more than that if I feel inclined. I try to mutter defense, but all that comes out of my mouth is a mumbling too incoherent to be called speech, or Will Snickers, proud of having turned me into a mess. When my joints are rigid and my heart is hammering against my chest, I work up and of course I look into Kaidan's eyes one more time. They are so deep and mesmerizing, his breath is hot as it hits my nose. He's really become such a handsome man. I'm lucky to be in his embrace. Am I not? Who cares about what is or isn't real? When I go to sleep tomorrow, will this Kaidan still be waiting for me? Will he hold me and insult me again? Regardless, I will treat this as the last time I will ever talk to him. I'm done doubting myself, missing chances, and piling up regrets. Right now, everything is where it should be. So let me partake in it, experience what it could have been down to every last detail. Dig into his back as I pull us closer, as our breaths intertwine. His eyes reflect a devotion taller than Renai's summits, deeper than the valley's most profound darkness. Which is why I'm baffled when he stops me by placing a finger on my nose. What's the matter? It's too soon for that, Hector. Why, I don't want this opportunity to slip by. Please. It won't. Not if you haven't given up. I follow the wolf's gaze toward the void above us. It's as though there was something invisible, yet perceptible there. Don't you feel it drawing closer, Hector, encroaching and surrounding you? Thousands of flowers burst open, dozens of springs all at once. He was born among springs, here were nine, where the earth has mouths to swallow and the sky eyes. As though breaking out from under a lake's surface, I gasp for air. I sit up, frantically looking around. Murky moonlight enters through the window, illuminating the desk. This is my room. Then I'm awake. The now dry streaks on my cheeks say yes, but that dream was so vivid, it's difficult to tell. Kaidan, no matter how long I stare into the darkness in front of me, the wolf doesn't soar up again. Just as quickly as it came, the tension drains from my body and I flop back onto the bed. It was it had lasted longer, that I had never woken up from that dream. What did I need to do to be in Kaidan's arms again? Would it suffice to just close my eyes and wish for it? How convenient that would be. I close my eyes with a sigh and hug my pillow. It's right then, when my heartbeat has calmed down and my thoughts have been silenced, that I notice a scent that's been there since I woke up. The same one I sense in my dream, the scent of the Eye Valley. And right after that comes the realization that what I'm hugging is too bulky to be a pillow. In the same place where Kaidan's face would have been moments ago are two rubies instead. Is this what that lion saw during the first attempt at the expedition? It must have been, yes, because the rubies are blinking. Before I can muster any further thought, they pounce at me. I scream and roll off the bed, making a break for my desk. Get the pistol. No, the lamp. Now on to head straight for the door, only to run into a wall. It should be right here. So I try to feel my way to the door frame, but no matter how long I search, I can't find it. Heaving with shaky hands, I take hold of the bottom of the lamp and release magic. It comes out as a spark, but that's enough for the oil to lit up violently, flames licking the top of the chamber. Huh? It's not here. The door's gone. Something seals behind me. I hold my breath and turn around. It escapes my lungs first as an exhale and then a snicker, the smell from the valley. The rubies, the disappearing door. I'm still dreaming, or die? A wolf lies on my bed, on his side, using one hand as a headrest, eyes red like blood, strange markings on his ears, and very scant clothing. But what truly draws my gaze are the hooves at the end of his feet. I know what this is. I have heard about it since I first set foot in Renai, but that's not possible, so this has to be a dream. Then why does his smile make me so uneasy? Badger, you ought to know this is a proper way to greet a venerable spirit. I back up as he gets up, but I immediately hit the wall. The entity stands tall, ears almost touch the ceiling. Before stepping out the bed and approaching me, he points downwards. On your knee, head down. Half complying, half collapsing from fear, I obey his orders. His hooves come into view as he stops right in front of me. A touch all too similar to Forrest's thin fingers run through my head and nape. Claws scrape my skin like hungry daggers. They tear apart in the delusion I might still hold that this is a dream. This is all real. Do you understand? Yes, I didn't mean to disrespect you. Forgive me, please. The entity chuckles, stroking more forcefully, savoring my fear. Good boy, stand up. The demon's touch retreats. With one hand on the wall and the other gripping the lamp, I get on my feet. Tell me your name, Badger. Hector of Oblong. Who are you? He grins, playing with one of his nipple rings, as though waiting whether to answer the question, but he's only toying with me. A demon won't refuse to give their name. Wanskai, watchman of the Eye Valley, devil of one eye. Are you? The one behind all the accidents, heh. The evil look on his face says it all. but that can only mean one thing. Are you after me because I work for the Duke? Please have mercy. I'm only a doctor, and I only stepped into the valley once. Your nerves are as sturdy as a piece of butter in a hot pot. Calm yourself, foolish man. I'm not interested in punishing you. But then why? Be not afraid. I'm pursuing a mutually beneficial arrangement. The demon licks his lips and steps closer. Although I have nowhere to run away to, he slams his arms on either side of me, cornering me between him and the wall. It's a fight to not fall on my knees again. I was awakened by that idiotic lion uselessly trying to invade my territory, like the many men that tried and failed before him. However, thanks to that, my lesson once again strikes fear into the hearts of men. But after a year, I've grown tired of feeding only on fear. Oh, but then here you are, pent up, frustrated, heartbroken, delicious. From the moment I sense you, I've wanted to eat your heart out. You might get his wrist because it feels as though my heart is about to jump out of my chest. But this won't do. Not when you're scared for your life. Thus, I want to strike a deal. What? It's a truly generous deal for you. I will offer you my protection and amend your broken heart. In exchange, you will provide me with the sustenance I desire. Heather, there's a time to calm down and think straight, then it's now. Pick your words carefully. Don't agree with anything the demon says, and don't fall into temptation. Wanskai drags a hand down his chest and abs, his claws accentuating every curve, every muscle, before ever so slightly slipping under his buckle. He's smirking, well aware that I'm staring. By protection, I mean I won't lay a finger on you without your permission. I will defend you from every threat in the valley. You and you alone will be safe to set foot there, no matter what. As for mending your heart, don't fall for it, Hector. Remember that he's a demon. By mending and eating, I mean the same thing. Let me comfort you. Those 9 years of pent-up feelings are too delicious to let go to waste. I want them for myself. That's absurd. I would never. Why not? Because I'm a demon? Or could it be that you still hold devotion for the man that broke your heart? He knows everything. My dream about Kaidan. Was that him? Probing my mind? I shouldn't be surprised. He's something me and other mortals don't comprehend, but I can't think straight. Be honest now. Weren't you disappointed by Kaidan, tall and icy as a mountain summit, unreachable, devoid of all the searing fire you yearn for? But me, I'll burn you all you want. I'll hold you and lick your wounds all you want. Once we know each other better, you'll agree I'm much more to your liking, Badger. Taking a deep breath, I began murmuring to God to not let me fall for this creature's sweet words and temptation, and to my ancestors to guide me so I don't stray from the good path. Ranskai raises an eyebrow, leaning closer. Are you praying? The demon laughs, his eyes closed shut and his mouth is twisted into a wild smile. I shove him away, and although he barely flinches, I slip out from under him. My futile attempt at an escape only amuses him further. There's nowhere to run, you dull-witted man, but don't worry, I'll grant you time to consider my offer. In the meantime, consider this a show of my goodwill. The demon's hand glows as he extends it towards me. I cower and hide behind the bed, not knowing what to expect. However, soon I realize he's offering me a handshake. Pick a word, then touch my hand, and say it out loud. You'll be able to repel me. You lie, demon. Since when do demons lie, Hector? Swallowing saliva, I stand up and take hold of his hand. Fading. The glow subsides, but Wanskai doesn't let go. Again. Fading. Then returns, accompanied by a terrible sound. Wanskai quickly pulls away. His hand is on fire, although he doesn't let it show in his face. It's obvious he's in pain. It is done. Say fading while I'm touching you, and I'll burst into flames. Don't even think about doing something idiotic like hugging me and saying it over and over while I'll make you regret it. If you just want a hug, I'll allow it. Right, you do want one, then. No, you already know what I want. Wan's Kai cackles and with an exaggerated gesture raises his hand again. I'll be back soon, Hector. Think carefully about what you want for your future. All I know of the future is that I don't want to have any involvement with a demon. You want the Kaidan to change your life, didn't you? To be an inspiration, a hero that would save you from the constraints of your pathetic, stiff life. I'm no hero, but everything else I can provide, you just have to say yes this time. Until then, Hector. He snaps his fingers, and as suddenly as he appeared, he's gone. I'm half crouching by the bed, expecting him to jump at me from some dark corner, but by the time I calm down enough for the night's bitter cold to bother me, I realize I'm truly alone. Only then do my legs give in and I fall on the floor, heaving. I don't know when it happened, but the door is back, too. Was that really not a dream? Am I going insane? No, I shouldn't entertain any of those possibilities, or else the demon might come back in a more vengeful mood. As I wind down, a thought pops up in my head. I immediately try to drown it, but alone and shivering as I am, there's nothing I can do to stop from surfacing. Maybe it wouldn't have been so bad to accept that hug, right? Thank you for playing Devil's Gambit. We hope you had a great time. If you enjoyed the game, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Patrons will get access to the latest build a month before they go public on itch.io and will get a free key to the game once it's complete and released. The higher tiers will receive other benefits like access to WIPs, art streams, previews of the writing, and more. Supporting us would help a lot, and it would allow us to really focus on delivering the best experience possible. If you enjoyed the game but can't support us on Patreon, please consider leaving a 5-star rating on itch and following our socials. You'll find the links on the start screen now, so make sure to check them out. That's all for now. Hopefully you're looking forward to the next build. We know we are. Until later. That was the first build of Devil's Gambit. Had a lot to do for Thanksgiving. Otherwise, this would have been 3 videos instead of 4. But anyway. Okay, so I really enjoyed the music in this game. It fits with the era, and all this music that you're hearing right now, it really fits in with this demon here. When we finally met him. So I really enjoyed the ominous music here. So I enjoyed this VN. I really like the writing from Neris. From Rodeo, who's a writer for Neris. Though a lot of the contractions kind of, like weed or they'd. Would have been better if it was like they would or we would. So all the contractions in the game kind of trips me up a little bit. But anyway, I enjoy the writing. I like the 2 characters here. The Badger, who's a doctor, he and Kaidan really grew together during their childhood while Hector's father was trying to treat him. They would often go to the forest and to the rivers, and they would grow closer together and confess their feelings to each other. And once Kaidan felt better and there was no need for the doctor to be there anymore, they said their goodbyes, and they and that and that Hector told Kaidan that, "Are you sure you'll be okay on the streets now you're not in the mansion anymore? That you're better?" And Kaidan reassured Hector that he'd be fine. So 9 years come, and they meet again, and Kaidan's not the same person he was as a child. He's not the snarky, arrogant, cocky, kid that Hector fell in love with. He's a totally different person. He is more kinder. He's more innocent, and he's more quick to apologize when he does something wrong or does a mistake. Now, he would never do that if he was still his child self, if he was like a child. He never did that. And Hector, that depresses him because he misses he misses the old Kaidan, the snarky, unapologetic kid, just does what he wants and just not afraid to say things, tell the truth. So that's what Hector misses about Kaidan, and in that dream he had, Kaidan would constantly insult him and be blunt with him, and every time he did it, Hector enjoyed it. Like he was experiencing the old Kaidan, but instead of him as a kid, he was the same person but as an adult now. And he wanted to cherish the moment he had with Kaidan until the dream ends. And I feel sad for Hector. I mean, getting heartbroken by Kaidan. I mean, Kaidan himself told him that he's not the same person that he fell in love with. And obviously he's not the same person the same person that Hector fell in love with. He's more wiser, more mature. But that's the part of growing up. People change, and as they go through new experiences, their personality changes, and and their mindset changes, and their opinions on various things just changes. They're more mature now. Now, I wonder if the demon Wazkai Wazkai has something to do with the way Kaidan grew up. I mean, he was smaller than Hector, so you probably might have thought that he would be about as big as Hector, maybe just a little smaller, but about as big as Hector, instead of him towering over Hector and being very muscular. So that's could have been done by the demon himself. But again, people have late growth spurts, or late bloomers, as Kaidan said. People have growth spurts late in their life, like in their late teens. So maybe he truly did grow very fast late in his teen years. Yeah, but There's a big difference, not just Kaidan's personality, but his size and strength. I mean, he was a small kid, and now he's a huge man. Basically, everything about Kaidan changed, and Hector is coming to grips with it. Well, struggling to come to grips with it. And this demon apparently is trying to take Kaidan's place. He wants Hector to give him those feelings. Why? I don't know. I guess he did say that he got tired of people feeling him, and that I think he liked people feeling him for a while, but he got bored of it, and he wants to have a different feeling now. And I think the feeling he wants now is, the feeling and the feeling of somebody loving him and looking to him lovingly. Now, I think, I mean, this obviously a demon. I mean, he's a demon, and he's a demon of one eye, and he's the one responsible for the failed attempts at conquering, conquering the valley and people settling there. I mean, people have failed in trying to settle in the valley because he says his domain, that he always made sure that people would not settle in his domain, and people got very sick from being there. So many people avoided going to the valley, and the dukes and the other officials would send men there to study the area so they could figure out how to settle there. Hector might decide to take the demon's offer. I mean, it seems for him giving a demon something, the demon would give him love, and he'll let Hector have relations with him and experience him physically and all that. I don't trust a demon at all. I mean, he's evil. At least that's what I assume he is evil. I mean, he's a demon, I guess. I mean, people associate demons with being evil, so. And so VN continues getting more updates around to see if Hector takes the demon's offer, and if the demon does not, if the demon stays true to his word, decides not to harm Hector in any way. Now, I wonder what's going to happen with Kaidan. I mean, the demon talks a lot about Kaidan hurting Hector, so I wonder if the demon might harm Kaidan in any way, or at least have some negative effect on Kaidan. We'll have to see about that also. So I really enjoyed Devil's Gambit. I'm looking forward to more of it. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.